Hello, everyone. Hello, Sharon. Hello, Mercedes. So wonderful to be with you.
Yes,
Hi, thank you
hello.
so much.
Hello, Mercedes. We're very excited to have you. Good morning, Mira. Uh,
Hello.
I don't know what time it will air when we do this, but good morning it is for now.
Mhm.
Well, actually not for you, Mercedes. You're not in.
Currently, I'm in Spain, but I travel back and forth in between Europe and the US all the time.
Oh, nice. Because you must have been growing up in the States because you have no accent whatsoever.
Well, no, I do have some accent, but I've been married. My husband's American, and we've been together for a long time. So, my accent has been very Americanized. I started with a British accent, and now my accent is pure American.
I
That's
would love to
funny.
hear the journey that led you to this point, right? How did it all start for you? And obviously lead in with astrology and how we can use all of that for ourselves. But I would love for us to hear about your journey.
Mhm. Well, I started, I was an astrologer, I guess, since I was born, because when I was very young, I was obsessed. Like I had an obsession. I wouldn't even care about people's names. I'd be like, please tell me your star sign. I need to know when you were born. Give me your birth date. And people were like, this little girl's a freak. Because at that point, astrology was not as trendy as it is now. And it was something a little more occult or not as exciting. It was a little bit more covered up, I'd say. So it was something that I had to wait to develop till I was like a little older, and I was old enough to join an academy. And that happened when I was 15. I had the perfect excuse where I was invited in my school to talk about whatever I wanted. So I was like, all right, this is my chance. So that's I was able to join an academy, do an entire program for a year and a half, learn the basis of astrology, and from then it's been like a rocket.
Very
Mhm.
cool. Very
And
cool.
I developed my academy recently in this past few years, and I've been doing readings to thousands and thousands of people all around the world. And it's like a growing passion that I have. And it's something that people ask me, like, don't you ever get tired? Don't you want to just do something else because you've been doing it for so long, or you've been in it for so long? And I'm like, no, I keep getting more and more and more obsessed. Like, I don't see an end to this. It's almost like Pandora's box opening. And I just seem to keep having to learn more and more and more to enrich myself.
Wow. You know that I want to say I'm almost envious because it's really rare to find a passion like that keeps growing, you know? I can tell you that my passions go in and out all the time. I have to
Mhm.
change all the time. But that is wonderful. It's very exciting that you
Mhm.
have that growing.
Okay.
So
It's very contagious. All my students are like, I cannot get enough. Like, it's like so contagious. So honestly, even though that your passion might drift, or for whoever's listening to this, if your passion is drifting, or it's like not really clear what you want to do, find someone who's very passionate about something and follow that person, whoever it is. It doesn't matter. And whether you're passionate about what that person's talking about or not, you just need to get contagious with people's passion so that you connect to that vibration and you're like, wow, okay, I'm passionate. I don't know what I'm passionate about yet, but I'm passionate. And that's how you start.
I would love to hear your thoughts on whether astrology and stars in the sky determine our destiny or if they're a reflection point.
Mhm.
I really would love to hear your thoughts on this because how much free will do we have and how much of that free will is really ours? Does that make
Mhm.
sense? Yeah, take us
Absolutely. I
into
get
that.
asked a lot. This is like one of the trending topics, trending questions. So there's a quote about, well, that Carl Jung said, that is, until you make conscious the unconscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. So what this means is that astrology is a tool for you to access your unconscious programs, your unconscious pattern. It's a tool to get to know yourself. And by getting to know yourself, you know your path. So really, destiny is just a program. It's just a pattern that's laid out there. You don't know it because you can't see it. It's not something that you see. It's something that's in your DNA, cosmic DNA, if you want to call it. So throughout generations, there's been these codes, these patterns, your ancestors, their life. You have a name, you're born in a specific date, under a specific time, in a specific location, and all of that are codes. Code. When you put all of those codes together, as well as your name, which is your identity in this life, which also is reflected on the chart, when you put all of that together and mix up that sauce, you're giving a pattern. And that pattern is you. Mira, Sharon, that's your pattern, right? So when you have this pattern and you're not aware of this pattern will govern your life based on circumstances and inheritance. Now, astrology comes in to help you, just like numerology does, to help you reveal this pattern for you, help you go as deep as you're ready to go, as deep as your consciousness is ready to take you, as deep as you're willing to understand yourself. The pattern is there. With the help of an astrologer or by taking a course, I honestly prefer to teach people how to read their own chart than to give readings myself. Because in a way, by me giving a reading, I'm kind of like guiding a person into my own viewpoint, which, yes, I've studied, I've practiced, but still, I'm giving you your pattern through my pattern. So I'd rather much better teach you how to read you and how to get closer to you and deeper to yourself than to me being that outlet to connect you to you, right? In a way of me giving you your chewed up information so that you don't have to do the work, which is really easy, right? Oh no, just give me the reading. I want to skip all these classes. But really learning astrology is like learning mathematics and learning a program, learning your program, your pattern, and your fate. Because I do believe that this pattern determines your fate. It's just that you won't call it fate, or you will call it destiny, but it's not really that. It's just a pattern and a program playing itself on play, you know? So that's why we want to use astrology as a tool for self-growth and self-awareness, and awareness, or to bring light, shine a light into this pattern so that it doesn't govern your life and you can skip or transcend it, skip right through it, transcend it, open it up, however you want to call it. There's multiple metaphors we could use. But for you to transcend this pattern, to look over it, appreciate it, understand the good things that it has. For example, one of my patterns is that I have a bunch of knowledge of the stars, and it's an inheritance. It's like, okay, yes, I've studied a lot, but I probably have more ease into it than other people that have been studying it for years. And it's just one of the good things that the pattern has given me. Of course, it's giving me a bunch of other stuff, but it's what I'm working on, because the pattern also gives you a lot of good stuff. It's your talents, it's your inheritance, it's a lot of codes. It's almost like, okay, this is what you're here with, you know, it's your tools and your masteries in this life and what you've mastered in other timelines. So in a way, astrology comes to guide you into you acknowledging these patterns, so that you don't call your life that it's fated or that it's your destiny, because I think destiny is bullshit. You are creating your destiny based on unconscious patterns. So astrology will help you transcend or shine a light on that unconscious so that you can rule consciously your life by integrating your best qualities and transcending your darkest ones.
We love that. You should get that as a quote.
Yeah, I guess I say a bunch of shit and a lot of people send me quotes. I was like, oh, did I say that? So I was like, I love having quotes because it's also like a reminder for myself, you know.
Yeah, definitely. So Mercedes, the age of Aquarian, I'm sure you've been asked this a lot lately. What I would like to focus on is helping us and the audience to make it easier, or not easier, but to come to terms with what's coming up, because you know, everybody says 2024, it's going to be a woozy of a year. I don't know if it is or it isn't. I didn't look.
They say that with every year, though.
Yeah, that's true. But we're starting with, you know, a few wars around the world. And
Oh, 100% 2024 is a massive year of change.
right. So
Mhm.
what can you tell us to help us cope, or to help us look at it from a different perspective, perhaps?
Yeah. So I know we are in transition into the age of Aquarius. Officially, there's different viewpoints of everything, like in life, but it is said that officially the entrance to the age of Aquarius is in 2200, 2230 something, when we have the Uranus-Neptune conjunction in Aquarius. It's almost like the transition from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. However, ever since the end of 2020,
I'm so
when we
sorry.
had
I didn't get it. You said a number that didn't make sense. So when is the date? What is the year?
it's 2200 2236 or something like that. I don't have the exact date, but it's in the 2200s. Like not 2024 that we're now, but 2200. So
Gotcha.
like let's say it in like 200 years.
Okay.
The official entry into
Okay, hold
the
on.
age
So
of
for the next
Aquarius.
200 years, we're going to be tortured by all these planets. I mean, that sounds horrible to me. Honestly,
In the next
I
200
had
years,
2 torturous months and I'm done with it, you know?
No. So in the next 200 years, we're in a transition in between the age of Pisces, the era of Pisces, and the era of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius. So it's not like, oh, now officially we're in the age of Aquarius. Hello, everyone. No, it's like a transition that takes around 200 years. So ever since the end of 2020, and that's why also 2020 was a year of chaos and such collapse of structures, it's because at the end of 2020 we had a major alignment of Saturn and Jupiter in the portal of Aquarius, the opening portal of the constellation, which is the 0 degree of Aquarius. That point activated it's almost like the gateway into the age of Aquarius. It just happens that the gateway takes about 200 years. So it's like this transition of these 200 years where we're leaving an era behind and we're stepping into a brand new state of consciousness. Bear in mind that each era is around 2200 years. 20 I have a confusion with numbers. 2200 years. I said it properly. Yeah. So each year, each era is 2200 years, because to complete the 12 eras that there are is 26,000 years. Right. So every 2200 years, there's a change of era. So now we're in this end of age of Pisces, beginning of era of Aquarius, but it's the most confusing time because we're leaving an era behind. We're entering into a new one, but this is almost like the craziest part of the age of Aquarius, because it's when we're learning to get used to a brand new intelligence that we're not used to. And Aquarius has to do with all the technology, has to do with humankind. And it has to do with all the awakening of the planet, the galactic, the extraterrestrial, everything that's out there, the stars, astrology. So of course, it's something that's going to gain a lot of popularity. And that's why in 2020, there was a massive peak in astrology. Like it had like so many, like compared to the past, in a way, like compared to the 20 years past that, it was a crazy boom, a crazy explosion. So it has to do with this. Exactly.
This
has to do
that you were speaking of is 200 years. And I really appreciate you giving the long-term cosmic view. However, I'm not even going to live that long, right? So let's make it practical for me right here, right now for the next year.
Of course. Yes, I agree. So again, even though we are not like, okay, fully in the age of Aquarius, and there'll be astrologers that will say otherwise, but through my studies, we are crossing the gateway into the age of Aquarius. So we are in the gateway. It's just that gateway takes some time. It's not like, all right, boom, we're teleported into this new age. However, I feel that 2024, 2025, and 2026 are transition years into a much more closer look into what the age of Aquarius looks like. Bear in mind that at the end of 2020 is when we had this like crossing into this portal or this gateway into the Aquarius constellation or the Aquarius era. So in a way, as closer that we get, and from 2020 till 2026, it's like these 6 years of major transformation of society. We can already see what 2020 did to us. And 2025 and 2026 especially are going to be years of entering into a new humanity, like doing things really, really crazy. And it's not so much because of what humans will create, that AI technology to the max, innovations in medical care, and like crazy stuff that right now I can tell you, and it's like, now that won't happen. Yes, it will happen. Everything that you're like, oh, that could that ever happen? Yes. Microchips, inserts, like crazy stuff. The thing is, and this is where 2025 and 2026 come in. 2026 is a year one. It's the beginning of a new paradigm, right? Like a new era, new age, something that's going to feel really, really new. And that's going to be the consequence on 2024 and 2025. So especially 2024 is a year that's going to bring a shakeup. It's going to be like, yo, remember. It's almost like a remembering of 2020, right? Like, remember that all of this is happening. Remember that you need to stay present. You need to stay awake. You need to stay aware, especially of ourselves, because we all signed up to be here. Like, we're here for a reason. So, in a way, I'd say that 2024 is a year that will have consequences in 2025 and 2026. So it's that year that you want to be as conscious as possible to not mess up, because if not, the consequences will pay off in 2025 and 2026. And globally, when it comes to global warming, when it comes to the earth movements, tsunamis, tectonic plates, volcanoes, like the earth is going to be speaking a lot. So what that does is that it creates certain fears and certain movements in humankind and in humans' consciousness. And what we'll see is a dependency that humans create or generate to a very extreme point to technology. That dependency is going to be really, really harmful. And in a way, it will be sort of punished. It's not necessarily a punishment. I'm just explaining like that because it's how it could feel. It's not really a punishment, it's a consequence. When there's a big dependency to something, there's the other counterpart that needs to act back. So that's how we're also going to see the Earth calibrating the entire planet in any way that it can. So something else we're going to see a lot is solar flares damaging technology. So the humans wake up and realize the inner technologies that we have, instead of becoming so attached to outer technologies, which is going to be really harmful for humankind.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
So the main takeaway is that I would interpret everything you said to a bottom line is stay present and go inward to check in with yourself rather than outward.
Yeah. Go as inward as you can to realize who you are, why you're here, and what you have to offer. Try not to look outside for answers as much, and try to learn about you and why you're here and what can you contribute.
Right.
What's your contribution to this world? We cannot just be takers. We need to bring something in too.
For sure. Everything has to be balanced, giving and taking.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then I forgot what I was gonna say. It was in reaction to what you were saying. Oh, about the technology. I mean, I really hope, I'm not against technology like artificial intelligence, but I really hope that we all stop and think how far we want to take it. And I'm not saying, I'm not into like the robots will take over or anything like that. But I just feel like I don't want us to lose ourselves again, and get into that whole circle again. That's just my little thing. So I would definitely, I feel like I don't want to be out there in the social media and all of that, I kind of want to be more inwards. And I find that I've kind of disconnected from a lot of people because I have this need to be inwards. So, yeah.
And honestly, we can't reject where we're going because we all created and we all signed up to be here at this time, but we do got to learn to use it.
Yes.
To a point that is constructive and not into a destructive mode, which is what we're going to see, unfortunately, in these next few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting
really
what you
good
said
point.
about constructive. In your own personal life, in your own personal business, how do you guide your clients? How do you guide yourself in using where we are constructively?
I love that question, Mira. I love it.
Me too.
Honestly, I work a lot on myself. Like I analyze myself constantly because when you work with people, and I work with clients daily, like I have thousands of not thousands a day, but like I have many sessions a day to help as many people as I can. And I try to be a very clear mirror, because at the end of the day, your clients are a mirror to you, and you are a mirror to them. So you want to mirror to them the best of their qualities. So I work on myself to be that best of qualities that they can have, so that I can be the best version of myself at all times, even though that's super challenging. So what I do in my sessions is guiding them to their best self and aligning them to who they are, purely aligning them to what they have to offer and to feeling the value inside themselves. Like one of my specialties is value and connecting people to their self-worth, because feeling worthy and feeling one's self-worth, I feel it's one of the most amazing things you can be feeling valuable and feeling how much you can contribute. It's like feeling your worthiness is one of the best things I can feel in myself. So that's why I want to promote people feeling their own value, because when you feel valuable, you feel your own love and your own self-esteem, and then that's contagious, and that is what makes you act from a state of love and compassion, because you know what you can offer.
So how do I look into my chart and find where my worth and value is? How would you answer that for somebody?
So that's another good question, Mira. You know what you're talking about.
I'm just very intrigued by everything you were speaking of. Thank you.
So I mean, both of you, really, really amazing questions. So value has to do with Venus. Venus is the goddess of love and abundance. So when you look at your chart, you want to look at Venus and what Venus is doing in the chart. Venus is that goddess of pleasure, of joy, and it's our connection to our self-esteem, our feminine energy. It's the energy that is able to hold and store that inner feeling or that inner sense of satisfaction and pleasure. So your connections to Venus are very important, or the transits that Venus has in your chart. I know this is a little more complex for people to understand, but Venus's symbol is a mirror, is a round circle with a cross in the bottom. And it's the symbolism of holding a mirror to a side of you. And it's also the code of relationships, which will mirror things about yourself that you need to integrate. So literally, like Venus is one of my favorite planets in astrology, and it's because of the connection to your value. I don't know if it's that exactly that you asked me, like how to connect. Okay.
That sounds
Mhm.
wonderful. So you're saying if people want to dig deeper into understanding their own self-worth, just looking to the position of their Venus and
Exactly.
and
I
the
actually
chart.
have a class in my academy that is just the class of Venus, and it's a class all about Venus in your chart and what it means. I love Venus so much that I dedicate Venus an entire class with every sign, every house, so that people can get to know their brightest talents or abilities, because Venus is also the connection to your money, to your self-worth, because in a way, money is the 3D version of our self-worth. So if you make a lot of money, there's something good about your self-worth happening. But if you don't, then it's also a time for you to review what's up with Venus in your chart, or what's up with your self-esteem. And by knowing Venus in your chart, it will give you a key to what your pattern is, to monetize, to make more money, to feel more beautiful, to feel more value. Like not everyone is super creative. Not everyone is good at speaking. Not everyone is good at processing ideas. So we each have that thing that makes us feel valued. So that's why, by knowing what your self-worth can be like, or if you promote that talent inside of you, then you know what you can monetize.
That's really good to know, because I do believe that most of our society's problems, especially women, is the self-worth part.
Absolutely.
So that's wonderful. And I want you to share all about your academy and what you do. But the last question before that is, you know how sometimes if you need to feel courageous, you can think of a lion or something, for example. So do you recommend for people to think of a certain planet for certain things? How do
Absolutely.
you feel about that?
Absolutely. So each planet has a code or a symbol. For example, courage is the planet Mars, is our masculine energy, or our drive, or what like promotes our self-driven movement towards something that's calling us, is like an impulse. But most importantly, transits. Throughout the year, the sun, from our perspective on Earth, of course, travels through several, through all the constellations, and so does the planets. And the planets also have cycles and patterns around the sun. From our perspective on Earth, we see all of these dances of the planets around the sun from a different perspective, and we see them interact with each other, creating different alignments or degrees in between each other. So the study of that with their interpretation is what we know as astrology. So for people to know how to promote certain aspects of themselves is really, really beautiful, to understand the transits and the movements of the planets around the sun from our perspective on Earth and what's happening all the time. That's why I promote a lot, like what you were saying before, like freely share information on what the planets are doing at all the time. And I have like monthly calendars with alignments day by day by day. So in a way, we make it accessible for people that don't understand astrology to navigate their own qualities that they want to promote. For example, if someone wants to launch a business, okay, this is the day. Why? Because it has all of these alignments that promote growth, that promote value, that promote courage. For example, another time that those qualities are in tension because the planets are in disagreement, we'll say, or in a misalignment, then we don't want you to promote that course or that project or that career pursuit. Like, we don't want you doing that when it's not as favorable, because you're not going to have the energy impulse that you would in the other case.
Right. I'm really glad that the awareness of everybody comes more around to understanding that we can use astrology for our benefit, because I feel like the awareness wasn't there before. Like you were saying, astrology was just something out there, but now I feel like more and more people are getting into it, And I also want to say that I follow you, and I really love that every day you put something that really makes us feel empowered in some way. So thank you. And please share everything you do, because I love everything you do.
Well, I give readings. I give astral chart readings, Akashic records readings. I also channel from just energetically connecting to people, so that I use that for my readings, astral chart readings as well. But then I have another special part where I give Akashic records readings, especially for people that don't know their don't know their birth time exactly. But it's another way of giving readings or spending an entire session figuring out their birth time. However, what I do recommend is learning astrology, because that way you don't depend on an astrologer, because people will come to me and they will love their reading. I can guarantee they will love their reading, and they will want another one, and then they will want another one, and I'm freaking sold out. So what I want to promote is for people to really learn how to read their own map, how to navigate, honestly. And to me, being able to know the transits throughout the years, know what activates in me. I know in a way it's like, oh, you're predicting, you're you know what's happening to you. I mean, I kind of do, but also life surprises you so much. There's been so many times that I was like, oh, I have this figured out, I know what's happening. And then life just surprises me with something I was not expecting. I was like, oh my God, how did I not see this coming? This is so fun. And it's just wonderful ways of the universe surprising you. So I do recommend for people to learn how to navigate their own chart, because it's their life map. And if you know how to read your own map, you have so much advantage over everyone else. I would insist a lot in that. And if not, just give it a try.
That's great. Sorry to interrupt you. And you teach that in your academy?
Yes, I have an academy in Spanish and I have another academy in English where I teach everything at the same time. I'm a Libra, so I'm used to calibrating two things at the same time.
That's wonderful. Anything else you want to add before we let you
go? Just sharing my love and my passion for the stars.
Wonderful. And I love your passion. It ignites whoever is listening to you. So thank you so much. It's been fun to speak to you. Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful year.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye for now.